Gunhead log 02.32552-. The original Gunhead units were deployed as urban pacification during the formation of Europa. Many countries did not want to get folded into a massive megastate, especially considering only the founding members had preferential treatment when it came to policy and law structure. As a result, many cities broke away and there was mass rioting. Most of the able-bodied military fighting age personnel were shifted into the armed forces of Europa, so there was very little remaining to keep the domestic populations in check. The private sector filled the gap with mercenaries, and the rise of private law enforcement organizations filled the ranks of the skeletons of the previous order. Mechanical humanoid automatons were heavily employed in the construction of the newly overpopulated megacities, and since these machines were humanoid enough, one of the private contractors started outfitting them with weapon systems so they could run security in areas experiencing civil unrest. At this stage, they were little more than walking weapon platforms. It was decided based on the results of these early skirmishes, they could be immediately pressed into service as limited-use law enforcement. Private companies would operate these in instances that required tactical teams, with these boots on the ground being armed and sent in to defend government locations, shopping districts, food production, and distribution hubs. This was found to be useful but too limited. It was decided that the program should have an advanced unit that could respond to heavy civil unrest and put down large-scale riots if need be. The Gunhead units were deployed as state-controlled solutions to the problem. These units worked as part crowd control, part kill team. Gunhead units were given a slightly more advanced AI that was capable of limited problem solving, always in service to their primary objective. That parameter could be as simple as putting a stop to the current criminal activity, irrespective to any bystanders who may be in the way. With the simplest reason for this logic being that the Gunhead unit started in law enforcement, and when tasked to fire on a crowd of civilians, they did not hesitate. Gunheads were also utilized the same way nations will use contractors to carry out less savory tasks, such as torture or execution. That said, Europa isn't overly concerned about public perception or overstepping the Geneva Convention, as most Western democracies were suspended at the megastate formation. After each mission, they were iterated upon with slightly new rules of engagement and parameters to better complete their tasks, with scenarios such as hostage rescue in particular requiring a much more nuanced approach than their typical mission. Over time, the machines started to show more signs of complex thought, though severely unstable, reminiscent of bipolar disorder. The patches to rectify issues were patchwork and deployed haphazardly, and though the original framework was solid, the Gunheads were known to be highly glitchy. Once the war broke out, these units were pushed into frontline service and sectioned off to Special Forces units as fire support. It's within these units that homebrew upgrades and specific mission updates started to overlap. With the prolonged deployments of war and consistent maintenance untenable, rumors spread of Gunhead units going rogue after deployments lasting more than 1,026 days. With these rumors going as far as insinuating that the Gunhead units were developing personalities. Whether this is the case or not is obfuscated behind many lines of code, layered upon what was originally a tool of construction. Perhaps these personalities are just the machines struggling to abide by the many overlapping parameters bestowed upon them over the years. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks to Fundog for providing a peek behind the curtain for Gunhead's lore. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and leave your thoughts on Gunhead down in the comments below. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.